Felipe Santos was born on January 1st, 1979 in Oaxaca, Mexico. By the age of 24, Santos had been living in the U.S. in Immokalee, Florida, just east of Naples for about 3 years. He had been working in the Naples area to send money back to his family in Mexico. At around 6:30 a.m. on October 14th, 2003, he was driving to work with his two brothers and was involved in a minor car accident in Naples. Deputy Steve Calkins of the Collier County Sheriff's Department was called out to the scene. Calkins cited Santos for reckless driving and for driving without a license or insurance. He had Santos leave the vehicle and sit in the back of his patrol car. Santos was last seen riding away in the patrol car with Calkins. Later on that same day, Santos's boss had called the county jail to post bail after learning of the early morning incident. He was informed by the jail staff that Santos was never booked into the jail. When Calkins was questioned, he stated that he changed his mind about arresting Santos because he was being cooperative and had dropped him off at a local Circle K gas station. He said he then drove off and that was it. The other driver who was involved in the minor accident contradicted the report. They claimed that Calkins was irritated that Santos had no documentation, saying he was tired of pulling people over with no licenses. 2 weeks later, after Calkins filed his incident report, Santos's family filed a missing persons report and a complaint against Calkins. Calkins was investigated but clear from any wrongdoing. Santos's wife questioned the investigation, stating that she had never even been interviewed about the disappearance. Santos has not been seen or heard from since. Unfortunately, a similar situation was to happen only a few months later. Terence Williams was born on January 17, 1976, in Chattanooga, Tennessee. At 27 years old, the father of four decided to move to Naples to be near his mother. On the evening of January 11th, Jason Gonzalez, Williams' roommate, spoke to Williams on the phone before heading to bed. Williams had gone to a party that night at a co-worker's house. He drove over after not being able to get a ride, but felt nervous as he did not have a valid driver's license due to previous DUIs, and the registration on his car had expired. Gonzalez became concerned when Williams did not return home after the party. Gonzalez emailed Williams' mother on January 13th to let her know about the disappearance. The Williams family filed a missing persons report, and his aunt was able to track down his Cadillac. It had been towed from Naples Memorial Cemetery for obstructing traffic. When reviewing the tow report, it had been signed by Deputy Steve Calkins. After contacting the Sheriff's Department, the family found out that Calkins had not filed an incident report, nor had he made an arrest. Williams' mother reached out to the cemetery employees, who told her that they saw Calkins pull Williams over and ask for identification. Calkins did a pat-down on Williams and placed him into the back of his patrol car. Calkins then asked the cemetery employees if he could leave the Cadillac in the parking lot and then drove off, Williams still in the patrol car. Calkins then returned to the cemetery between 15 minutes to an hour later and moved the Cadillac from the parking lot to the side of the road and threw the keys on the ground by the driver's side. After receiving this information, the Williams family contacted the Sheriff's Department asking to speak to Calkins. When contacted by dispatch, Calkins said he had no memory of making any arrest or having any vehicle towed on the day of the disappearance. Later, he stated that he had a better recollection of the incident. A few days later, supervisors asked Calkins to submit an incident report. He said that he first came into contact with Williams at 12:15 p.m. after noticing that Williams' car was driving in distress. He followed Williams to the cemetery parking lot, and Williams told him that he was having issues with his car. Calkins stated that Williams asked for a ride to the nearby Circle K gas station due to being late for work. It's important to note that Williams did not work at the Circle K. Calkins claimed again that despite Williams not having any documentation, he was very polite, so he decided not to book him on any charges. Calkins continued that after dropping Williams off at Circle K, Williams told him the paperwork for his vehicle was in the glove compartment. Calkins went back to the car and found that there was no paperwork and was annoyed at being deceived. He called the Circle K from his work cell phone to speak with Williams, but the clerk said that Williams was not an employee there. Calkins then called in the license plate number and discovered that the plates were expired. Calkins called for the car to be towed and signed for it under his name rather than the police department's official designation. Bystanders stated that while waiting for the tow, he was speaking in offensive faux African-American conversational slang with the dispatcher. While speaking with the dispatcher, he claimed that he had found the vehicle blocking the road and said, "Maybe he's out there in the cemetery. He'll come back and his car will be gone." At about 1:12 p.m., Calkins requested a background check on Terence Williams, giving an inaccurate birth date that was a specific date Williams had given police when previously arrested. This contradicts the statement that Calkins made, saying he never knew Williams' last name or personal details. When another investigation looked into the statements of the incident report, phone and surveillance records did not match what Calkins had claimed. Williams was not seen on the surveillance footage from Circle K. Phone records show that Calkins never actually called the Circle K. Circle K employees were interviewed, and none of them said that they saw Calkins or Williams at that location. When Williams' family picked up the car from the towing company, the vehicle was running smoothly with no issues. At this point, the Williams family filed a complaint against Calkins. When Calkins was confronted with these discrepancies, he stormed out in anger, claiming the department was twisting his words and were out to get him. Since a police officer was the main person of interest in this investigation, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement and the FBI were called in to work on the case. Different techniques were used in the investigation, including a placement of a GPS device on Calkins' vehicle and a forensic analysis of the patrol car. Cadaver dogs were used in the areas identified by the GPS, but nothing was turned out. Due to providing conflicting information on both the Santos and Williams case and not cooperating with the investigation, Calkins was fired from the department. He subsequently moved to Iowa. The case went quiet for many years until 2012. National programs such as Disappeared, Anderson Cooper 360, and Dateline NBC covered the case. Not long after, the investigation discovery series, Deadline, Crime with Tamron Hall, looked into the disappearances of Williams and Santos. In 2013, actor, filmmaker, and producer Tyler Perry offered $100,000 for information on the disappearances and later raised the amount to $200,000. At a press conference in 2013, a man came forward with his own allegations against Calkins. Anthony Denson Jr. said that in 1997, Calkins and several other deputies chased him on a beach with the intention to kill him. This claim by Denson was never fully investigated. In 2018, the Williams family filed a wrongful death suit against Calkins. Calkins filed a motion to dismiss the suit but was denied by a judge. The case was supposed to reach trial, but an arbitrator ruled against the family, citing lack of evidence. Their counsel forgot to file a motion in time, so the court's decision could only be overturned by a judge. The counsel asked for a new trial as COVID-19 had impacted the case, but in February 2021, the judge ruled the arbitration was final, clearing Calkins of any wrongdoing. He can only be held accountable if actual criminal charges are raised against him. Santos and Williams are presumed dead at this time. There is a popular theory for their disappearances called the Starlight Tour theory. This term originated in the Canadian province of Saskatchewan and described the practice of police driving individuals to the edge of town or outside of city limits and abandoning them. Some would find their way back, but many Indigenous individuals would lose their life. This became a theory as Naples borders the Everglades, and it was thought that Santos and Williams may have been abandoned in the Everglades, or their remains were disposed of and hidden out there. Regardless of the theories, there have been no other suspects in their disappearances to this day. If you have any information on this case, please contact the Collier County Sheriff's Office at 239-793-9300 or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-780-8477. Santos is a Hispanic man with a height of 5 feet 7 inches and weighs 150 pounds. He has brown eyes and black hair. Williams is an African American man with a height of 5 feet 8 inches and weighs 160 pounds. He has brown eyes and brown hair. He has a tattoo of a T above his left chest, a tattoo of E.T. on his right shoulder, and a tattoo of Terence on his left forearm. His left front tooth is gold, and his right front tooth has a gold crown with T on it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel for more Criminal Connections.